Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. I'm Jonathan Freedman, and our next guest is Jenna Matthews, founder and CEO of WOI Communications. Welcome to Radio Entrepreneurs.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your agency and what it is that you do.
So, WOI Communications is a boutique public relations agency. We started about a year ago and we specialize in strategic storytelling, specifically for CPG and lifestyle brands. Our kind of sweet spot is really with brands that have a purpose-led element. So, that can range. One of our clients is Pedigree Foundation. And the entire client obviously is purpose driven. It's all about ending pet homelessness and finding homes for dogs. But it can also be a client that has a campaign that they're working on that's purpose driven. So really we try to kind of focus at least 25 to 30% of our business in that area. And the rest of our business is what we call the fun stuff, really.
Well, the
It's consumer
purpose-driven stuff
brands.
is the passion stuff, but it's supposed to be fun too, right?
Yeah, exactly. The purpose-driven stuff is what we're really passionate about. The other stuff is the light and the fun stuff. It's the stuff that you see in grocery stores or, the campaigns that kind of hit those consumer publications that people are scrolling through and reading. But it's those type of CPG brands that we work on.
So you're looking to get people's story out there. Is it necessary? Is it typically company story? Is it typically campaign related to a particular campaign that they may be driving, a product launch, or is it
Yep.
tend to be much broader in nature?
It's all of the above. So, our team, we have a core team of six and we are growing rapidly, but our team is all made up of kind of senior led communicators that have 15 to 20 years in the industry. And background for all of us is really, in that CPG lifestyle space. And we've done everything from represent commodity boards to large brands and actually helping them kind of set their strategic brand vision, develop their overarching messaging and start to tell their stories on an annual basis. We've also gone deep with brands and developed, campaigns. So you see campaigns around the Super Bowl timeframe or Mother's Day timeframe or kind of any key moments in time. And we will be the creators of those. One example would be, so we actually just launched this program called Foster 50. It's a super cool campaign because it is targeted at both industry, so B2B, and consumer. It is about helping to increase pet fostering throughout the country. And so we united 7 different industry leaders, got them on a coalition, have spent 6 months working with them to kind of figure out how we can tell the best story, how we can help rescues and shelters to actually increase their fostering capabilities. And then also, how can we excite consumers and get them going and get them interested in fostering? So it's a very holistic campaign. And we did everything from kind of create the coalition, develop the messaging, develop all of the social programming for it, all of the earned media outreach, influencer outreach, all of those different bits and pieces that consumers come across or businesses come across are really kind of how we're able to create a holistic campaign that does the job for the company at the end of the day.
So it sounds like you're not only coming up with the strategy and the messaging, but also the executional elements and the public relations world or communications world has changed dramatically. Obviously, there's so many more channels today than there historically were,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I even call it new media. It's just it's a proliferation of platforms, channels, etc. Do you help your clients to select which ones are appropriate or to where to target and where to actually deliver those messages?
Yeah, media strategy, we still call it media strategy, but the strategy of how you're going to get your message out, right, once you've developed it, is so important. So for some people, it's more traditional, right? You're talking to the general media, whether that's a Wall Street Journal or a People magazine. For some people, it's so socially driven, right? Especially a D2C brand, it is so social heavy. There's also new mediums that have come out beyond social. Substack is a huge one. We were just pitching Substack the other day to try and get, some coverage for a client. So you definitely have to be nimble, right? And be able to kind of find that right point of entry for the client. and figure out who they're trying to reach. Identifying the audience is really kind of point number one, right? Once you identify the audience, you can create the right messages. Once you've started to create those messages, you can then figure out where are they most appropriately placed and who's most likely to kind of interact with them.
Your focus is on consumer packaged goods. Any particular? I mean, I know that may be part of the history, but do you find that that's where people are passionate? And you talk about passion projects. Is there a unique intersection that you find there in that space that has you guys excited? Why that interplay?
I mean, CPG is just there's so much out there. So I started my career in tech and I worked for great brands, Samsung, I worked with Microsoft, I worked with Honeywell, and it was all very interesting. I've done a little bit of healthcare and a little bit of biotech, and those are all really kind of cool lanes to play, but it just so happened, I guess a little bit of background on our agency to kind of get to that from a circular standpoint. So I was with Weber Shandwick for over 20 years and had the ability to kind of work through and access the some of the largest brands out there, work with the Procter and Gambles of the world or the Mars of the world and really kind of learn how they are doing product development, how they are doing marketing, how that intersects with communications and public relations, how that is brought to life from an internal comm standpoint. And that just really is kind of what sparked me. I'm a mom of three little kids. So I actually left Weber when I had my third child, trying to do the parenting lane full time and the big agency job full time just wasn't working, right?
So you figured to pivot to become an entrepreneur because that'll be
I,
simpler.
I did not
And you'll
leave.
have more time to yourself.
I did not leave with the intention of starting my own company. I will say that. I left with the intention of just a reset. But what I found actually was, I mean, I could have listed, easily listed at least 10 other people, mostly women, who had done the same thing, who were senior level, had been in the game for 20 plus years and left for that same reason. And what I kept seeing in my network was they all still were really active on LinkedIn. They all still had that passion. And as parents and as consumers, the brands that were really kind of popping for them were those CPG brands, right? So we would be talking about, a drink that we had at the beach, whether it's a Crystal Light or, whatever, an energy drink, something like that, or a product that our children needed that we were buying. And so I started freelancing a little bit, started to get the itch, get more into it. And last year I just called up an old colleague. We had run a couple very sizable accounts together. And I said, what do you think about just joining me and trying this out? And it just really quickly grew in terms of the team that we have. We found people who had done the same thing. Some were looking for full-time work, right? They really wanted to get back into it full time. And some were looking for, a half-time situation. But all of them had that same passion. And so we just decided, let's use our skill set. Let's go forward and be able to represent the brands that we had before, but do it in a new way, have less bureaucracy, fewer layers, at these big agencies that we had been at. I loved my time there, but there are a lot of layers. There are a lot of people that review things and a lot of different inputs that go in. Some are necessary and some are not. So our model has really kind of taken some of that out and just simplified it so we can deliver to those same brands.
And I would imagine in today's world where things move so quickly, the ability to pivot in a smaller firm is much more practical, if you will, and capable of moving things quickly through the pipeline.
Yeah.
Because those opportunities that you may have, a traditional media source may say, well, yeah, if you can get me something tomorrow, we can make it run. We can get it to run, that type of stuff,
Yep.
which is, it's hard to move that battleship. It's much easier to move the tugboat, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I had a client, I want to say it was like April 15th, right around there, call me and say, hey, I know you were working on a big announcement for the end of April. We need to push it up to April 22nd, and we're making an acquisition. So now the announcement is about an acquisition, completely separate. In the old days at a large agency, that's just not possible, right? To be able to completely shift stories, completely shift media strategy. With a smaller agency and our team being so nimble, we were able to quickly, spin up a press release, adjust the media strategy, and get it out within a couple of days. And there was a weekend somewhere in there. So really, 3, 4 working days. But yeah, I mean, we can move so much faster. I will say the fact that our agency is comprised of solely senior level people, I mean, everyone knows what they're doing, right? There's no hand holding or education. We're really able to just say, hey, this is the pivot. Let's pull in the relationships we have and let's make it happen.
And you hit the ground running every day.
Yeah.
Excellent, Jenna. It sounds like you are well on your way to a tremendous company, and congratulations on soon celebrating your first year. If people want to get in touch with you, want to learn more about the communications, how to work with you, or find out more about it, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, they can reach out at woicommunications.com or email me at Jenna at woicommunications.
Fantastic. It's been a pleasure having you on. Our guest has been Jenna Matthews, founder and CEO of WOI Communications. Thank you for
Thank you
being on
so much
Radio
for having
Entrepreneurs.
me. Thank
And we'll
you.
be right back with another segment on Radio Entrepreneurs.